welcome you this morning, joining us in the house of the Lord. It's good to be here. We ask you to just open your ears, open your heart. Father God, we thank you this morning. We thank you for your love, your mercy, your grace. We ask you, Lord, to speak to us, put us in one mind and one accord as we give you the honor and the glory. Thank you, God. In Jesus' name.
Because better is one day in your presence, oh God. How lovely is your dwelling place. Oh Lord, Almighty. Let's join and sing this. My soul knows and even faith for you. All over the world, for hear my heart, for hear my heart is satisfied when in your presence I sing the shadow of your wings.
Praise God, it's good to be here. Welcome to New Creation Church. Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to our live service, Facebook Live, and hope that you are blessed in worshiping with us. Reminded of these words that we just sang, it's better a day in His courts than 1,000 elsewhere. And I'm thankful that I could be here. I'm thankful that I could worship. I'm thankful for what the Lord has done for me this day. I'm thankful for all of His blessings. I'm thankful for the people of God. I'm thankful that the Word continues to be preached in this time. So I'm thankful. We just have a few announcements today. One is that we will be having our Tuesday streaming service, and then we will be continuing our streaming services on Sundays at 10 o'clock until June 7th. And at that time, we will be having our live service in person where we can congregate together. However, there are a few restrictions or limitations, I would say, meaning that we'll have the congregation or all that enter into the sanctuary will have to wear masks. I'm not sure what the level of or the limits on them, but we will be wearing masks. I think what you've been wearing up to this time, I think will be sufficient. So I'm excited about that we can all get together, and we'll have more information on our website, on Facebook, leading up to the service. So we just want to put that out there. It's kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel, a little bit of hope. I'm excited. I'm excited to see you. I'm excited to get together with all of you to worship. So please keep that in mind. June 7th, Sunday at 11 o'clock. So note the time change. We were having service at 10. We will be going to 11 o'clock. So keep that in mind. Mark that in your calendar. And we will see you in person on June 7th. We're going to be changing the order of service. We're going to be picking up our offering. And I just say it this way, as God has prospered you, give unto the Lord. That's what His words are, giving unto Him, because everybody that comes into this house, everybody that hears these words is blessed. It is because of your giving. So remain faithful in that, remain committed to that, remain diligent in what you give unto the Lord as He has prospered you. We've done this before, we'll be giving through the Tithely app and also through the Cash app. I'm excited about what the Lord is doing. I'm excited about the Word and what we're going to hear today. So God bless you. We will see you June 7th, but keep tuned in on every Sunday up until that point. So God bless you. Thank you.
So lovely, so lovely, so lovely, so lovely, so lovely. Love me through my good, yeah, Jesus. Love me through my bad, oh, oh, yeah. Love me through my good, yeah. Ooh. Love me through my bad, oh. You didn't erase my future, yeah, oh, yeah. Because of my past. Said you love me through my good and my bad. Here we go. You love me through my good and my bad. You love me through my good. You love me through my bad. You didn't erase my future. Of my past, oh. Said you love me through my good. Said you love me. Said you love me through my good. Said you love me. Said you love me through my good and my bad. Keep on loving me, loving me. You keep on loving me. Loving me, oh, you keep on loving me, loving me. You keep on. I said you keep on loving me, oh, keep on loving me. Monday, Tuesday, you keep on loving me. Hey, you keep on loving me through my good, love me through my bad. Said you love me through my good, hey. Said you love me through my good. Said you love me through my good and my One time. Here we go. through the good and the bad. At this time, we're going to welcome our pastor, Pastor Dion Fowler, at this time to bring a word, good and the bad.
I'd like to welcome you one more time with us. Thank you for joining. It's good to be here. As you heard in announcements, we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel somewhat. We will officially start back up on June 7th, and we will be at 11 o'clock. Our live streaming we're going to continue to do at 10. I think everyone's gotten accustomed to that. So I think it'll work good because you can get yourself situated when we start back to leave your house at 10. So should work together. You leave your house at 10 and you should be able to make it here by 10:55, 10:59, somewhere in there. Anyways, look forward to seeing you. We are going to be practicing social distance. We're not going to argue about will it get you or not. That's not what we're doing. We're respecting each other's space. And with that being said, it'll be a little bit different than it used to be. But anyways, we encourage you, if you are able to join us when we start back up. I know that some people won't be able to. I understand that, and we will respect that you won't be able to come, but you can still join us at that time online. Just remember, we will be moving to 11 o'clock when we go in person. Amen. We are going to drill a little deeper today. Today we're going to drill a little deeper, and we're going to start off in the first book of John, the 4th chapter. Verses 20 and 21. Now keep in mind, I did not write this. I'm only translating it to you or relaying it to you or being the messenger. So it says, if a man say, I love God, if a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, then he is a liar. Now, I'm not calling you a liar, I'm just reading this. Or somebody a liar. Or referring to somebody. I'm just telling you what it says. He is a liar, for he that loveth not his brother, whom he has seen, how can he love God, whom he has not seen? If you can't love your brother who you can see, then you can't love God who you don't see. And this commandment have we from him. It's a commandment. It's still a commandment. That he that loveth God love his brother also. So we see how important it is to walk in love. We see the importance of it. And as I said, we're going to drill a little bit deeper today. I'm going to keep myself on a time limit. I got my time clock going here, literally on my device here. And I will be watching that. So we will let that dictate how far we get in this. But we're going to get an overview and then we'll go into more detail. We're going to go into 2 Peter chapter 1. 2 Peter chapter 1, starting with the 5th verse. We're going to read it through and then come back. And beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to your virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness charity. For if these things, or love in charity, for if these things be in you and abound, they make you that you shall neither be barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. But he that lacketh these things is blind and cannot see afar off, and has forgotten that he was purged from his old sins. Now, I went through that quickly, but we're going to go through each one. And each one are steps. They're steps. And so that you know it's 9 steps. And another way that I refer to it as is the metamorphosis. It's a metamorphosis of maturity. So it's a metamorphosis, it's 9 steps, or also you can see it as a barometer. This is a barometer or a gauge that will tell you where you're at. It'll tell you this is where you are in your walk with the Lord. What are your steps? Where are you in the metamorphosis? What stage are you at? What step are you at? And the first one you may not like or you may like. I'm going to say that again. The first step you may like or you may not like. And the first step is diligence. It says, and diligence. Now, what is diligence? Diligence is to make an effort. Diligence is to have a work ethic. Diligence also can be seen as a process, a practice, a ritual. Whatever name works for you to describe it, but it's diligence. So you start by making an effort, making a step, and understanding you're going to apply yourself. Now, many people will throw out anything that takes diligence, effort, applying yourself, and they will refer to it as works. That is works. Or they will say that you are attempting to earn your salvation. Now, that's not what we are talking about. We're not talking about your salvation here. This is talking to people that have already found salvation and they are looking to grow and become mature. So it takes an effort. It takes that you apply yourself. Now let's stop there for a second. Anything in your life that you are successful at will take you applying yourself. Now, some people may apply themselves extremely hard. Others may be less in applying themselves. But the key is that whatever that you do, that you apply yourself and you find a process that is repeatable. That you can repeat the process. That you can repeat the ritual, the practice, whatever that might be. We can grab something from the air, but I'll let you do that in your own mind. That whatever it is that you do, if you're a musician, if you're an artist, if you're a construction worker, if you crunch numbers, whatever it is, you write software, whatever it is that you do, you have to find something that you can repeat it. And you repeat it, and as you repeat it, you become successful at it. Now, there's a term out there that when I was young, they used to say, practice makes perfect. As I've grown older, that is not true. That's not biblical. And if anyone's still using that term, I ask you to change it a little bit, and this is the change. Perfect practice makes perfect. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Because if you're practicing the wrong way, all you're doing is embedding the wrong way. So if you're doing something the wrong way and you keep practicing that, guess what you're going to get? The wrong way. So you have to find the right practice and repetition. You find a repetition in it. That repetition is to repeat yourself. So you repeat it. Not verbally, but your steps are repeated. So our first step in our growth, our first step in our metamorphosis, the first step in our progress, in our maturity, is that we apply ourselves. We make effort, that we're diligent, and we repeat it. Now, don't stumble on religion, because people will stumble on religion and say, that is religious. I'm letting you chew on that. Because people will throw out the baby with the bathwater in the name of religion, because they'll say, I'm not religious, therefore I won't say a prayer every morning, because that would be a religious act. I encourage you to not think like that. In fact, the opposite should be true, that I'm going to have a practice that I start my day every day with word, meditation, and prayer. Now, don't get scared of the word meditation, because it gets robbed from us. But meditation is pausing and listening, because God might want to tell you something when you get your day started. But if you don't take a pause and allow him, he can't speak to you, because we're too busy. We got the coffee machine going, we got the TV going, we got the phone going, we got the computer going, we got the dog barking, we got the doorbell ringing, and God's not going to wait in line. He may have a message for you, but he's not going to sit there and take a number. So you have to give him time to speak to you, and that's meditation. Yes. Don't see it as a religious act. See it, well, if you're okay with that, I'm okay with it also, in the term that I'm not stumbling on it. Whatever that name may be that you use, that you practice, as we will say, good habits. Pretty much, I would think everybody brushes their teeth every morning. Is that a practice? Is that a ritual? Is that a process? Does that make you religious? People would say that makes you smart. I would call that a smart act. But you put the other things in there: prayer, meditation, his word. You're making an effort, and you become diligent. Then we come to the next step, which most people would usually say this is the first step, but it's the second step in the metamorphosis. And the second step is faith. The evidence of things not seen. That the hope that we are grabbing onto, faith, believing in something we don't see. That you have some measure of faith. Now we take our effort, our process, our practice, and we put faith into it. So now we have faith. Now everybody should be past those first two steps. If you're not past those first two steps, I encourage you to get past those first two: diligence and faith. Now it'll get a little bit more challenging, because step number 3 is virtue. Now virtue is going to challenge us, as I said, a little bit more, because virtue is to have a moral excellence. A moral excellence, that you're seeking after righteousness. Not that you're earning righteousness, but you're seeking it. You're seeking after doing the right thing. When the fork in the road in your life comes between doing the wrong thing and doing the right thing, that you have virtue and you choose to do the right thing. Because you will find forks in the road all the time that are going to challenge you to take the wrong path. But with virtue, virtue will say, no, I'm not taking the wrong path. I'm not taking the evil path. I'm not taking the path that's full of envy, the path that's full of jealousy, the path that's full of hate. And as I like to say, the path that's full of fear. Because fear will birth all those other things I just mentioned.
But you come down and you say, okay, your virtue tells you, don't take that path. Your virtue tells you, take the right path. So you're heading down. And now we come to step 4. Step 4, and many people don't make it to step 4. And I'm not saying this to be discouraging. I'm saying this to encourage you to get there. And step 4 is knowledge. And when I say knowledge, that this is the word that is used, is the right knowledge. And what is knowledge? It's information. The right information. I'm going to take a pause right now. And I'm going to put this out. If anybody thinks they have all knowledge, there's nothing left for them to learn, they need to backtrack and go back to step 1. If anyone claims that they are all-knowing, that person needs to go back to step 1. There's not one of us that has reached the point that we cannot receive more knowledge. There is something that I don't know. There's something that you don't know. And maybe somebody can feed you that information. It may be a 10-year-old. It may be your next door neighbor. It may be the person that's checking you out at the grocery store. It may be a dream. And of course, most likely, it's the word. And the term that's used, and I like this term, but dropping knowledge. That person was dropping knowledge. You have someone in your life that can drop knowledge on you, keep that person around you. Don't surround yourself with people that can't give you any information that is profitable to you. Surround yourself with people that know things that you don't know. Well, I don't want to learn that. I don't want to know about that. Again, that's religion. No, that information is knowledge, and it can make all the difference in your life. I really like YouTube. I think YouTube is a very practical place to go. Some of you may be watching this on YouTube right now. But you know what I like about YouTube? If I have a problem with my vehicle, I'll Google the problem. And I'll say, what does this say? And I'll put in all the information about my vehicle. And there's chances are that people with a vehicle like mine have experienced the problem I did. Or the problem I have. So, like, I was having a bad idle on my vehicle, and I Googled it, and it came up mass air sensor. Mass air sensor. I said, okay, I know exactly where my mass air sensor is. No, I don't. So then I Googled location of mass air sensor, and I came up with the location. Then I went to YouTube, and I put in YouTube search, how to change the mass air sensor on my vehicle, my make and model. And I went in, and there was a gentleman there, and first he did a sales pitch on auto parts, and then he walked through the process, the practice. I said, okay, I think I can handle this one. Then I went shopping for a mass air sensor. And where's the place that will always have it, where you don't want to go to? The dealer. The dealer. Then you can look at AutoZone and the different places. Well, anyways, I purchased a mass air sensor. And I changed my mass air sensor, and my rough idle went away. Why? Because somebody dropped knowledge on me. Not only did they drop knowledge on me, I was open to hearing the knowledge. And I will say, they know more than I do about mass air sensors. I have numerous mechanics that I'll drop questions on, and sometimes I'll ask the same question to see if they agree. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. When they don't, I'll keep searching. And that's the way life is. You're looking for answers. Your answers are going to come in the form of knowledge. Diligence, faith, virtue, knowledge. I hope you're liking this, because the next one is really fun. On the 9 steps of maturity. And the next one is temperance. And what is temperance? Temperance is self-control. You have self-control. If you have self-control, that means you're not a loose cannon. If you have self-control, that means you're not going to pop off. Am I allowed to say pop off? Is that all right to say? I guess it is, because I already said it. What do I mean? There's some people you say, hey, be watchful, because they're liable to pop off. So everything's kind of going, the road's going, you're all going down the path, and all of a sudden it's like the Jack in the Box, poof, not the restaurant, but the toy. Boom, they come out and they start popping off. Dropping knowledge? No, just bouncing off the wall. That's not temperance. Because the next step after temperance is related to temperance. But temperance is self-control. Would you call that? Now we're getting halfway through the steps, and can you see maturity already? Halfway through, you got someone with self-control. Is that someone you want to work with? Is that someone you want to do a project with? Yes. You want to work and do projects with someone that has knowledge, right? Someone that has temperance, right? Someone that has self-control, the temperance, and starts out with diligence, like you already know. When you show up to the job, you know they're going to show up if they're not already there. You pull up in your car and their car's already there. You're like, I want to work with that person. And you don't walk in and say, okay, what mood are they in today? Are they in a good mood? Are they not so good mood? Are they going to pop off today? Because they have temperance. They're mature. And the next one is related to it. Patience. Patience. Is that something that you should desire in your life? Is that something you should want in your life? I think so. Now, do you expect a 3-year-old to have patience? You expect a 5-year-old to have patience? You expect a 10-year-old to have patience? No, you don't. But you should expect a 30-year-old to have patience, hopefully. And what is patience? The ability to wait and not get emotional. I'm going to say that again. The ability to wait and not get emotional. It's patience. Now, things might stir up inside of you, but you tell yourself, I'm mature. I'm a grown woman. I'm a grown man. I'm not going to pop off. I just happened to see this headline. I had already had this ready, and I happened to see this headline. The headline was, people fight at Red Lobster on Mother's Day waiting for their food. I didn't look at the video, but I guess they started fist fighting, wanting to fight the workers. Because they wanted their Red Lobster. And I'm like, what kind of Mother's Day would that be? Would we call that patience? That's not patience. That's why you have to use wisdom and say, okay, what are we going to do for Mother's Day? We're going to go call Red Lobster. You might say Red Lobster's going to be slammed. That's where on this COVID time, you crank up the barbecue. And you throw it on the grill. Well, we wanted Red Lobster. Is it worth losing your patience over? I think not. How good would the food be after that anyways? So patience is something we should desire. And now we are getting closer into maturity. We're getting closer into maturity. Because as we grow, these are things that are evidence. They're the evidence, I'll even call it. The evidence of maturity. And the next one is godliness. And that's one of those words, I don't think you hear that used very often, the word godliness. And I think the reason it's not used because it sounds religious to people. And people don't like that word godliness. They're a godly person. Should be a compliment, but many people shy away from it. Unfortunately, people mistake godliness with being judgmental. Being judgmental doesn't make you godly. It's sad, but most people have a reputation about pastors. The way they view pastors, reputation is judgmental. If you were just to go around asking random people, what is your interpretation of a pastor? Many of them would say judgmental. Because people mistake being godly with being judgmental. Not being kind, not being gentle, not being able to have patience. Going around, and hear me, I know people misunderstand this. They think being godly and being righteous and being a man or being a woman of God means righting every wrong. And people really believe that. It's their job to right every wrong. The Bible doesn't tell us to right every wrong. And I'm not saying our personal wrongs, other people's wrongs. Their belief is, it's my job to correct everybody in this world. That's my job. You know where that job should start? With self. Right the wrongs with self. Correct the wrongs with self. Be right with self. Get right. Get self right. Not self-righteous, but get yourself right. Because you're going to see people that are doing things that you wouldn't do. But is it your place to stop them? Now hear me. I know there's a lot of child abuse going on in this COVID time. And if you were aware of a child being abused, then you may not be able to right the wrong, but you can call authorities. You might see, let's say, a man physically abusing a child, and then I would say, yes, you might want to step in. Say, buddy, don't do that. Get your hands off of that. But some people believe that it's their job to stop people from doing all their lifestyle. and they're going to stop them. And I ask the question, is God stopping them? No, so he will stop them, or they're going to answer to God. Well, there is truth in that statement, but you're not God. Somebody runs a red light, are you going to chase them down and write them a ticket, and you're not an officer of the law? You might lay in the horn, they run through that light. Like, hey, buddy. But you're not going to chase them down and right the wrong. Hey, go all the way back to that light and wait for it to turn green and then go through. And you say, well, that's ridiculous. Well, it's ridiculous if you think you're going to stop everybody from doing certain lifestyles. I'm going to tell you right now, they're opening up the city. Watch out for Old Town this weekend. What I mean by watch out, stay away. Because it's going to be a zoo. If you want to see what happens, just go to Twitter and you'll probably see enough. Or maybe you don't care. But they're going to be out in droves, and they're just going to be rushing out. And I'm going to be out there trying to stop them. I'm going to take my children, I'm going to take my wife, and we're going to put up barricades. You're not walking in El Jefe. We're not letting you. You don't know what El Jefe is, okay? You could Google it. Because I'm righteous, I'm going to stop them. No. People are going to do what they're going to do. But godliness is putting God's way above man's way. That's what godliness is. That you're putting God's way above man's way. And now we're getting somewhere. We're getting into the steps, the metamorphosis, the maturity. And I call it the metamorphosis because it's like the caterpillar turning into the butterfly. The steps. And that butterfly does not resemble a caterpillar at all. That caterpillar, what it does when it's in the cocoon, if you don't know this, it's like sucking on poison out of leaves. And then when that caterpillar grows wings as a butterfly, because isn't a butterfly have thin, fragile, delicate wings? And it would be an easy prey for birds. But see what happens? A bird will not eat a butterfly because they know that the wings will make them ill if they eat it. And the reason is that butterfly spent that time in the cocoon, and they took those harsh moments, those bitter moments, those challenging moments, those difficult moments, and it was turned into beauty. Does anyone say a butterfly is ugly? People would say a caterpillar is ugly, but you don't say a butterfly is ugly. But what is a butterfly? It's a mature caterpillar. So we should be growing our butterfly wings, taking our bitter experiences and turning them into beauty. And the next one, step 8. I like step 8 because 8 is a new creation. 8 is the number of the butterfly coming to fruition. And that's brotherly kindness. Phileo. Some of you would know the term Philadelphia. Brotherly love. I love you like a brother. You can't say that you love God and you hate your brother. So it's a mandate that you love your brother. I pause and I think about this because I know that God will save and have saved people that other people don't agree with their lives. And they're in heaven right now. And one day, if we're hoping and believing we're going to be there, what are we going to tell God if there's people there that we don't agree with their lifestyle? Are we going to tell God he needs to throw them out before I come? I believe there are some people that think that far. That they will say, if that person's in heaven, I don't want to be there. They're not going to say they want to go to hell, but they will say that if that's the God, that he saves that person, then I don't want anything to do with it. And no man decides that. No man decides who gets saved. Right there is do. If you don't catch that, because it's a good thing that man doesn't decide. Because it's like David. Who do you want to get? God asked him, you want me to put you in the hands of man or you want me to decide? And King David said, I'm going to be in your hands, God, because he's a merciful God. And I am going to be closing now. I'm going to be closing it up. Because what is the last step of maturity? What's the last step of metamorphosis? What is that place that we are striving to reach? The word in the King James is the word charity. But all you theologians already know what that word is. That word is agape. That word is love. So when people say the love message is a watered down message, the love message is a compromised message, a love message is you've sold out to the world message. Contrary. The love message is that you come out of the cocoon and you've got some wings now. The love message is that you've grown up. You've matured. How can you love people that are different than you? How can you love people that have a different lifestyle than you? Because I've matured. I've grown. I'm talking in general, whoever you is. Part of immaturity is, and I get this, people want to belong to a sect. They want to belong to a group. They want to belong to some type of, in the terms of the streets, colors, flying their colors. They want to fly their vest with their rocker on the bottom that tells everybody who they are and who they belong to. And I'm not saying that in the sense that I'm coming down on them people. I'm saying, but people want to be associated with certain groups. And it happens in church too, where people fly colors. They fly a color. Now, it may not be a vest with a rocker banner or a prospect, but they want people to know that we belong to this group. And this group right here, and I'm just saying a certain group, whatever that group may be, is better than everyone else's. We do it better. We're better. We got it more figured out. We're more knowledgeable than everybody else. We are more holy, which is a crazy way of looking at it, but that's how they will view it. But it's no different when people say, why does that young man want to belong to a gang? They like the acceptance. They like the sense of belonging. But people do that in church also. But when you mature in love, you can see somebody that's different than you and still love them. You can look at someone that they may worship different than you, but you're okay with it. as I said. Now that's some people, right? And then others, here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Let go, let God. Right? Some people throw it all the way back. To God be the glory. Right? And how many people will say, this one is better than this one? Right? My flavor is the best flavor. My music's the best music. All of you need to listen to the music I listen to, because the music I listen to is the best. I want to go to a church that does it this way. And a church that does it this way, I don't like them. Do you see? That is not maturity. If somebody wants to just sit in their seat and meditate with their head down, can we love them? And then you get the one running down the middle aisle cutting the carpet. Right? Can you love them also? Can heaven, do you think it's going to have both? You think it's going to have those that enjoy worship and those that enjoy praise? Now I'm finished preaching, so my clock's over. But you'll hear people say, well, I'm all about praise. Then you hear people say, well, I'm all about worship. Then you hear someone say, well, I'm all about the word. Then you hear someone say, I'm all about prayer. You know what I say? How come we can't be about all of them? How come we can't be about all of them? Now, our church is hard to define. It's hard to define. And the best way I can define it is if you've ever been to Disneyland and got on the ride, the Small World. You get on the ride, the Small World, then that's our church. Our church is like the Small World. It's like Joseph's coat. What was Joseph's coat? Can you help me? What was it? Can you say that louder? It was diversified. That's why and people don't like that, because they want a church to be like a crayon box. And you know what a crayon box does? You pick up the crayon and you look at the side and it tells you exactly what the crayon is. See, our church, you can't do that. We're not a crayon box. You can't pick them up and say, okay, it's right on the thing. Okay, I hear you. Well, should be stamped with the name holy, should be stamped with the name of the Lord. Yes, that's right. But it doesn't have to be stamped with some club, some gang, some colors. And when I mean colors, the gang colors. No. It just be holy, righteous. The 9 steps to maturity. Diligence, faith, virtue, knowledge, temperance, patience, godliness, brotherly kindness, and last but not least, the greatest of these, faith, hope, love. And the greatest of these, God bless you, it's love.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Father, for the word. Hallelujah.
I love to worship you. I love to worship you. I love to worship you. I love to worship you.
What a combination of words. Loving worship. Loving to worship the living God. We should, as I said, love the whole package. Praise, worship, prayer, the word. And even though some may not be your flavor, that's okay. Respect it, it's somebody else's flavors. Because that's what the kingdom of God is. It's diversified. It's full of diversity. And it may not be the way we want it, and that's okay, because it needs to be the way God wants it. And we know that heaven's going to be filled with all different people and all different tongues, all different kinds of people. And no way, no how. Don't get it mistaken that I'm saying that it's okay to do the wrong thing, because I'm not. I'm just talking about being acceptable to people that are different than we are. Not condoning the wrong actions, but having an open heart and open arms, because that's what He did, God did. That's what the Lord did. And we can't say we love God and hate our brother. We can't do it. And if we love God, if we really love God, if you really love God, you will love your brother.